All right, are we ready? All right, good. Now, we'll move into switch statement now. We'll talk about if, your else if, and your else. We'll move into switch statement. Now, what are switch statements? Switch statement is like an alternative control flow statement to your if and else. You understand? So, in case you're not using your if or your else if or your else, use what? Switch statement. But the only time you should actually use switch statement is when you have so many conditions. Now, if you have a lot of conditions, right, writing with your if and else statement might be a little bit tedious, right? Might be a little bit bulky. Let me use that word, bulky. But one thing about switch statement is that switch statement makes everything easier, right? So it makes everything easier, and it is easy to read when you use what switch statement. So how do you work with switch statement? So let me first explain this. The switch statement is a powerful control flow tool in JavaScript that offers a structured way to handle what multiple conditional branches based on the value of a single expression. So, for instance, JavaScript now, if you want to have multiple else if, what do you need? Multiple conditions. Do you understand? Multiple conditions. Switch statement also, if you want to handle what's the name? If you want to handle multiple distance, what do you need? You need one particular expression, just a single value of expression. Now I'm going to come again with that. Every single wasn't it? Every single if and else statement comes with a condition. Now in switch statements, yes, everyone is also going to come with a condition, but there is a single expression at the top that says, okay, this is what all of the conditions will be based on. Do you get what I'm saying now? So now, while if, else if, and else statements can achieve similar results, the switch statement often provides a more readable, like I said, maintainable solution, especially when dealing with numerous possible values. So the best place to use switch statement is when you have what? Is when you have what? Multiple conditions that you want to iterate over, multiple conditions that you want to go over. That's when you use switch statement. Again, the switch statement is just like your if and else statement, but you use switch statements when you have multiple conditions because you don't want your code to be bulky. You want to have a very clean code, and that's what switch statement is going to do for you. Now, it allows you to execute different blocks of code depending on which case matches the expression's value. So what am I saying? Let's say you have let name equals to Paul. So let's say let name equals Paul. Now the first case you put Peter, the second case you put John, the third case you put Paul. Which one is going to print true? Let me explain what I'm saying. You have a single expression at the top, right? After the single expression, you now have different cases. Now, any case that matches that expression or that makes that particular expression true is your what? Is your answer. Do you get it now? So I'm not saying let name equals Paul. In the first case, you put Peter. In the second case, you put John. And in the third case, you put Paul. Which one is going to be? You're going to print true. Paul, right? Now, that is basically what it is. It's saying that what you're going to have the major one, and that's the major expression. They are going to have different cases. Now, let us move into it. So this is what we are saying. So we have what? Switch. You have your expression, right? Let's look at it. You have expression. Then your first case, you have what? Value 1. So if value 1 is true, what will happen? It's going to print out what is here. Do you get it? Now, if value 2 is what? True, it's going to print out this. Then then you can have more cases, just like your else. So it's just like saying that what? If this condition is true, print this. If this condition satisfies this expression, print what? This. Else, if none of these are now true, move back to the default, which is your what? Your else. Now, your first case can be your if, other cases cannot be your what? Else if. I'm just trying to give you comparison. Do you get it now? That is basically what switch statement is talking about. Now, it is now much more cleaner when you use what? Switch statements for conditions that are very, very, very long. Now, the expression, the switch keywords initiate the statement, and the expression is what? Evaluated. The result of this evaluation is then compared against each case. So value 1, that's case value 1, represents a specific value compared to the what? Compared against the expression. So if expression strictly equals to what? Value 1, what happens? The following code will be executed. Then it will break. Now we'll come to break very soon. As you can see break here, right? You can also see break here. Of course, I'll give us practical examples. I just need those to understand this first. Now, what this break is saying is, if this particular value 1 is equals to what? The expression. Give me this, wasn't it? The answer. And break. Break means that you don't want it to go to the next what? Case. Because even the next case might still be what? True. So you don't want it to go to the next case. Now, that's the first thing. Second thing is that if this particular case is false and you don't break it, what happens? It will keep running it. It will not move to the next one. You understand? So it's not just going to keep giving you what? An error. An error. Like, it's not even it will most likely not give you an error. It's just what? Keep running it, keep running it, keep running it. So it's like an infinite loop. Do you get it now? So you need to break it and make sure that if it works, it moves to the next one. If it doesn't still work, if it works, it stops, right? And if it doesn't work, it moves to the next one. Then the next one also has to break. Now, let me show you. Let me give you a practical example now. So let's say you have okay. Let me use this example. Good. So let's say you have. Okay. Okay. So let us say you have. Let me see. This is what we need. Okay, let us use this. Let's use this example. Is it? Okay. So let us use this. I'm trying to see if this works well. No, that's not even what I'm looking at. I'm looking at if this is a simple example for everywhere now. Okay, let us just use this. Let me start with what I used in our last class. So let's say, let numero equals to what? Let's say 10, right? Now, we can now have a switch statement that says what? Let's say numero. Do you understand? So, or let us say, let's say check num. You understand? So we can have what? What are we checking? We want to check if any of that particular case equals to what, or any of that particular what's the name? Condition equals to what? Numero. Do you get? So we'll start with case 1 and we'll go. Let's say we have case. Which is the first case. Case. So let's say 1. Let's say 1, and let's say console.log let's have numero equals to 1. Let me use numero here instead. Now that's the first case, isn't it? Now, if the case is 1, that means if numero equals to what? 1, what will it give you? numero equals 1. Now, what I have to do, I have to break it. Break it in the sense that what I do not want it to interfere with other conditions. Now, let us say case 10, right? You can also say what? So console.log numero equals to what? 10. Then again, break. Do you get? Now, we can now have what? A default that says what? Default that says what? So we can now say console.log numero doesn't exist. And what is this going to print out? Numero equals 10. Right? Come, let me read. Now, let me explain it again. So if we inspect it now and check this out, we should see what numero equals 10. Now let me explain it again to you. We said let numero equals to what? 10. Right? And then we said switch numero. So we want to check if any of these values right here equals to the value of this what? Numero. Isn't it? So we now said what? Case 1. If this particular numero equals 1 and it is strict. Now, one thing about switch statements is that switch statements are always what? Strict. Now, what am I saying? They are very, very strict. In your if statement, you can see right numero equals what? 1. Do you get? But in your switch statement, if you are comparing any value, it is what? Equals what? 1. They are very, very what? Strict. Do you remember what your equals and equals? Now, that's basically what it is. They are very, very what? Strict. Now, in this case, you have what? The first case, which is case 1. Case numero equals what? 1. If this is true, print out the first. Case numero equals what? 10. If this is true, print out what? This. Now, if we now have what? 11, and let us check out. So if we put 11 now, it default statement, which says what? Numero doesn't exist. Do you get it now? Now, this is how strict statements actually work. So you have your first case, you have your second, you can even have up to 10 cases, depending on the amount of cases that you want. Do you understand it now? But basically, what it does is that it's like an alternative control flow statement to what? To your if and else statement. Is it clear to everybody? Is it clear? So now let us take another example. So let's say let d equals to what? Let's say 3. Right? So let's now say let daytime or day name good equals to what? An empty string. Now we cannot have what? Switch day. Now, what do I want to do here? What I want to do here is that what? We have set the value of. Now, if you notice, this is how switch statements work. Let me just copy this here. Now, this is basically what switch statement is. This particular case here is case value what? This case here is case value what? 2, right? That's how I keep going. So if you have no, check it out. This is 1. This is 2. If I duplicate this again, it's going to be what? 3. I'm not talking about the value of case here. I'm talking about the case itself. So you have what? Case 1, case 2. If you have any amount of cases, do you understand it now? So now let us try and do it the same. Let's try and do the same thing right here now. Let's say you want to have what? Let's say you want to have day equals to what? 3. They want to say day name should be what? Empty string, right? Because you don't know the day yet. Now, if I come here and I say case, let's say case day. Huh? Yes. Don't worry. I just use that as a quick example. You understand it? So let's say case day, and then we say console.log, or let's say in this one we have day name day name equals to what? Monday. Day name equals to what? Monday. Then we're going to have break. We're going to do the same thing again for the second case. So we can have case 2 or case day again. And then we can say, in this case, we want to say day name equals to what? Wednesday. You see? Because right now the case here now is what? Day. We want to check the day name. So we don't need case 1 and case 2 again. You understand? We want to check the day name. So that's what. So let us break it now. So we can have the third case. We can say case 3 or case day again. So in this case, we want to have Friday. Now, then we're going to what? Break. Now, if I come outside here and I say console.log day name. So now let us check what it's going to give out. Now, what do you think it's going to give out? I need you to look at it very well. Why is it Friday? Why is it Monday? Why is it Wednesday? Okay. Who else can try it? Now, we said let day equals to what? 3. Day is already what? Day is already what? 3. Do you get it now? Let day name equals to what? Empty string. Now, switch day, meaning that what? If any of them now equals to, if the case equals to the value of what? 3. Do you get it now? Now, case day, that means in case this one is what? 3, day name should be Monday. If this one is the third value, day name should be what? If this one is not the third value, day name should be what? Which of these 3 is the third value here? So what is going to get printed out now? Do you get it now? So if we come here and check it out, wait, it's telling me Monday. Okay, I actually made a mistake here, and the mistake is that I named everything day. So I actually named everything day. So let us check this example again and let us see. Okay, I understand it now. So you have 1, 2, and then 3. So day equals to what? 3. That was a mistake on my part. So day equals to what? 3. Then you have what? Day name equals what? An empty string. So case 1, you have what? Day name equals to Monday. Case 2, day name equals what? Then case 3 actually satisfies the what? This value right here. Do you understand? Or in other words, I can just put what? Day here. So since this is day, it automatically detects that what? Day is what? 3. Do you get it now? So if you check it out here, you should Friday. Do you get it now? That is basically what your switch statement is all about. So your switch statement is saying that you have cases, right, that satisfies the initial expression. And what is the expression? Day. Do you get it now? So if any of this one equals to what? The value of day, then what do you want? Print out their print them out. So that's basically what it is. I hope everybody understands switch statement now. Is it clear? So now that's basically what your switch statements are. So your switch statements are like alternative to your if and else statement. So your empty string is stating that the type of data type here should be a what? String. But first of all, it is empty. Why is it empty? Because you want to be able to update the value of daytime data. Because in this place now, the value of daytime is what? The value of daytime, day name here is what? The value of day name here is what? So in case any of their cases is true, the value of the daytime will vary. But if you put value of daytime, you just put Monday. What you're trying to say is that what? Every of these days is going to be what? Monday. So right here now, daytime is defined, but it's an empty string. Do you understand? And what's the value of an empty string? What's an empty string? Is an empty string true or false? Is an empty is it a truthy value or a falsy value? It's false. So we talked about falsy values. We said -0, 0, empty strings, then big int's own notation, right? Then we'll talk about one more, trying to remember. So we can just check it out here together so you see what I'm saying. So if you check falsy values, so see your falsy values here. See your falsy values. So you have false, 0, -0, big int what? 0, empty string. That's another what's the name? That's another side of JavaScript. So it's like a more what's the name? Deep part when it comes to numbers, but it's not important for now. So you have what? Empty strings, then you have what? No, you have undefined, and then you have none. So these are your false values. It's not important that you cram it, but I think it's something that you will still know. You have to know it later. Okay. Now that is basically what your switch statements are. Now, your switch statements are very straightforward. As you can see, they're not hard. So the first one is what? The case. The default. I think I've explained the case. I explained the case. So the case is like the major condition there. Then your break statement is what stops. I think I explained this in our last class, right? Your case statement is what stops that. So your break statement is what stops your case from working in case that particular case is what? True. Now if it is false, it moves on to what's the next case, which is the next condition. So you have what again? You have the default. Default is when all your cases are what? False. So if all your cases are false, your default becomes what? True. Just what I'm trying to say. So what am I saying? In case, so right here you have case. So let's now say default. Default. So default should now be, so let's say console.log. Okay, let's say day name equals to what? So let's say Saturday. Now, let's day equals to what? 3. The first case is here. Here is what? 1, 2, 3. Now let's put 4 here. Now, if you put 4 here, which of these cases satisfies this? No. Which of these cases satisfies this? I did not say which of the conditions. I said which of these cases here satisfies this? Exactly, none. So since none is satisfying this particular case, it's going to come back to the what? To the default. That means all of these particular cases are what? False. Then your default becomes what? Is what? True. So in case all your cases are what? False, the default is now what? True. So now if you check this out now, you should have what? You should have Saturday, because default now is what? Is true. Now that's basically what switch statement is. Now, now this is just basically everything that we can we'll be doing on switch statements. You can go ahead and check this out and try and understand more. So it's like repeating the same thing, just that in much more technical. And like I said, okay, wait, just a moment. Like I said, we've actually wasted a lot of time on this. So we should be going into functions, arrays, and objects today. Between today and Friday, we should be done with that. Okay, you have a question? So I'm saying that take that use console.log. Do you understand it now? So I'm saying that if you have day name, I'm saying that if you have day equals what? 4, you've set the value of day name to what? Empty string. You understand this, right? Good. Now I'm saying if this particular day here satisfies this case, change the name of day name to what? Monday. If that works, execute this case 1. If it doesn't, break. No, if that works, break this particular case 1. If it doesn't, move on to the next case. Now, if this value of this satisfies 2, what happens? name equals Wednesday. So I'm saying that if this particular value here equals to this particular value here, what happens? Your day name should change to Monday, or Wednesday, or Friday, or Saturday. So I can now come back and say console.log. Now, whatever statement is true in this place, it's not going to be printed out as part of thing in here. So that's what happens. Alternatively, they can pick this and put them in each of them. So I can say, so let me control X. I can come here and I can put this here. I can also put this here, and I can also put this here. And yeah. So if you check it out now, you have what? Saturday. But now this is tautology to get it now. So what you have to do is just define it once and then it works. Do you understand it now? Is it clear to everybody? All right, so you can go ahead. I'm not going to give you any ahead. How many people tried this thing I gave in last class? Yes. You did it. Number 1 and 4. Mr. Samuel. Did you do number 1? You did not do number 1. Why? That's the easiest. Why didn't you do it? You have to have time. You have to have time for programming. Like, that's just the simple truth. I know that a lot of us have what we're doing, and yeah, it's normal. But you have to have time. If you can just try and create. Truth is that task, both tasks, will not take you more than why? Because you're not doing anything HTML or CSS. Like, no. So it should not take you more than 3 hours. And that's like you've actually tried. At least 3 hours. Do you get it now? So if you can dedicate 3 hours in a day to coding for the next 6 to 7 months, of course it's going to have to increase later. But if you can just do that, you should understand anything that you need to understand, the basics of anything that you need to even start using in getting jobs. It's very, very easy. So try as much as possible to commit time to these things. It's very, very important. Now, both switch statements and if, and else statements can be used to handle multiple conditional branches. However, there are some key differences, like I explained before. Readability, that's the first thing. Switch statements are much more readable when dealing with a large number of discrete values for single expression. Now, if and your else if statements can become cumbersome and difficult to follow in such cases. Now, you've seen how, I think in our last class, we show how bulky your if and else statement can be, right? Like very, very plenty. So readability might be hard. So what do I mean by readability? Reading your codes might be a little bit hard. As a developer, you need to be able to read your codes. If you're not reading your codes, then if you cannot read your codes, then you are not actually writing the right codes, even though it's working. So one thing switch statement does is that it helps you with what readability. You can read your codes, you can understand what you're saying in your codes. You understand it now. So switch statements is much more readable and understandable. Do you get it now? But the one you will use in a lot of times, of course, will be your if and your else if. But you should also know switch statements in case you are working with a large number of data or conditions. That's why you use switch statements. So now, expression complexity. Switch statements are best suited for comparing a single expression against multiple constant values. Now, what does this mean? This particular day equals 4 is a what? What kind of value is this? Constant value. Is it changing? No. But you are using this particular conditions to compare in case any of them equals what? This particular value. Now, for if and else statement, it is a little bit different. And what's the difference? Each if or else if block has its own what? Condition. Right? I hope everybody's following. Each if and has its own condition. So somehow they are a little bit different. But in switch statement, it is saying that what it is solving the complexity. So all you just have to do is what, have one particular expression and then use separate cases to know which one actually suits that particular expression. As opposed to your if statement that you have to have multiple expressions for multiple conditions. Do you get it now? Now that is basically what your switch statement deals with. So that's what it does. So you also have what strict equality, and I think I explained this, right? That your switch statement, now you have if and else statement, like you say, so let's say, so for if statement, you can say A equals what? B, right? So, or you can say what? A equals B. Now, for your switch statement, right, it is strictly A equals what? B. So your if and else statements can have what? You can use your double equals to or triple equals to. But for your switch statement, it is what? Strictly what? That's strict equality. You understand? Or strict comparison. Do you get it now? So if you try to like compare two values that do not have the same data types, what's going to happen? It's going to give you an error. So what am I saying? So right here now you have what? 4, right? So now let me put 3, but inside what? String. Do you get it? Now let us check what is going to come out. What is coming out? Saturday. Do you understand it now? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Is it clear to everybody? So you have 3 here before, isn't it? So the 3 here, what's going to print out? Friday, right? So if you check this out, you have what? Friday. Now, if I go ahead and I wrap this up in a what? In a string, what will you have? Saturday. Why? Good. That's what I'm trying to say, that your switch statement is what? Strict equality, strict comparison. It compares with what your 3 equals to, like I explained. Do you remember the 3 equals to? Good. So it compares with it. Do you get it now? But your if statement, if you do not specify this 3 equals to, it will not know that you want it to be what? Strict. Do you get it now? Now that is basically what your switch statement does. Your switch statement is very, very strict when comparing values, as opposed to your if statement that allows you, first of all, wait for you to tell it the kind of what comparison you want to do. Is it a strict comparison or a loose comparison? Do you get it now? So that is basically what your switch statement does. So moving on to the next one, you have what? Fall. Now, the fall through behavior of switch statements without break can be a benefit and a drawback. Now, it allows for grouping cases, but it can also lead to bug. Now, what this is saying is that in case you do not put your break statement, so if you not put your break statement, what happens? So it can actually cause a bug in the sense that it will keep running your code. Do you get it now? But in some cases, this can be beneficial, but in most cases, it's not. So it is very, very important that you always put your break statement after each case so that you don't have any bug. Do you get it now? Now, this is what it is saying. Okay, so that is all on switch statement. Any question on switch statements? Question, addition, subtraction, prompt. Yes, it should. Yeah, of course. So let us check it out. Okay, let us even do something similar. So let's say let day equals to what? So let's say prompt what day is this? So what day is this? So we can now have what? Day. So so let us say, so what day is this? So in this place we can now have, instead of this place, we can now say Monday, right? So here you can have Wednesday. Then right here you can now have Friday. Oh, sorry. Friday. Do you get it now? So what does this mean? You ask the user, what day is this, in a prompt. Once they press Friday or once they press Monday, what happens? It's going to show what? Monday. So what am I saying? If you come here now, and let me refresh it again. Now check the console. If I write Monday, what am I going to have? Monday is not defined. So let us check that again. Come in, let me wrap this up with this. Case Monday. Okay. It's supposed to be a string. Sorry, that was a mistake. So let us check this out. So now let us check it again. If you say Monday, enter. Okay, I should have Monday. As you can see, you have what? Monday. Or let us say Monday. So let me change this day name so I can put it in a backtick So I can now say today is, so we can now have what? Day name. Do you get? Now, as you can see, it should actually be a string because that's a data type and not an ordinary number. So let me refresh this again. Let me say Monday. Now, once I press enter, what is saying? Today is Monday. But let me try and press a particular name that is not in the condition that we give. So let us say Thursday. Today is Saturday. Why? Why? Because Thursday was not among the what? The cases or the conditions that we gave. You see that it's very possible for prompts to also work with. Now, as you can see, switch statement is much more cleaner somehow. Because if I come here and I say, if I want to use my if statement here, I have to say Monday, then what? Console.log what? Day, today is what? Monday. So you have to what? Keep doing it over and over. And somehow is going to look a little bit disfigured. Do you get it now? So let us create cases for the rest of the days. So let's say case for what? Tuesday. Right? So case for Tuesday, and then we'll have day name equals to what? Tuesday. Now let us do the same thing with, let me break it. Oh, that was a mistake. And let us do the same thing with what? Thursday. So we can have what? Case Thursday. Right? Case Thursday. And then we can have what? Console. Okay, not day name equals Thursday. You can, let us have Saturday. So let's change this particular default to a case. So let's say case. So we now have what? Saturday. Then the default will be Sunday. Good. So we're gonna have a what? A break. Okay, let me just accept it. Then we'll now have a default, and then we'll call it what? Today is what? Sunday. So daytime is what? Sunday. So now that is it. Now, if you go ahead and you check it out, so let's check it out. So if I refresh and I say Sunday, and actually default should not be Sunday, because if I press something like home alone, today is Sunday. But I pressed what? Home alone. You get now? Today is Sunday. So what you should actually do is what? Make sure that your default cases are what? Are like either errors or something that is trying to tell the user, okay, this is wrong. This should actually include this. Or a default should actually be a what? A name that everybody knows you cannot escape. We can now say what? Today is either a weekend or a weekday. That's the default. Do you get it now? So that's basically how it is. So we can now have what? Sunday. So you can now, let me just come here, and so we can now have what? Sunday here. So let's say Sunday, and then right here, okay. So let me just accept it. Now in my default, we can now have what? We can now say daytime. We can now say invalid day. Good. Now, as you can see, this is actually a much more better way to do this. So now if I come here and I say try out, and I say let me just write anything. Today is what? Invalidate, an invalidate. Do you get it now? So JJJJ doesn't exist. Do you understand? Now this is how switch statement works. So first you have your what? Let day equals what? Prompt. What is this? Let day name equals to what? Empty string. Then you fill it out. Then you fill them out manually yourself. Now these things are, they're not always manual like this. Just a minute. They're not always manual like this. Sometimes, in fact, you don't add code anything like this. Most of the times, you actually create a particular logic to get user input to do this for you. Do you get it now? So if it is Monday, it's just going to look through it and it's going to give you the answer. If it is Sunday, do it, give you the answer. Do you get it now? But switch statements are very much. Now, if you check it out, if you try to do this with your if and else statement, you run into trouble. And it's not like it will not work, it will work. But it will be very, 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 very bulky. Do you get it now? Now, this is what your switch statement does for you. I hope everybody understands it. Is it clear? Is it clear? You had a question. Said you had a question.
Let's say why did you say case one? Why did you say case one?
What is the value of D here? Now imagine your user presses Monday, but your case here is 1. How will it work? Now this particular case is what is listening to what the user prints out. Now let me show you what I'm saying. This particular case here, if it satisfies the value of this day, meaning that if the value of this day equals to what? This, then it's going to print out what? This. But if you use 1 here, does 1 satisfy the value of Monday that your user will press? No. So this is what I'm saying. If I press 1, it's not going to work until I press what? Monday. So that this Monday that I'm pressing is actually the value that I'm saying that I'm setting it to be here. Just a moment. I need you to understand why we shouldn't be putting 1. First of all, if I say, wait, listen to it. If I say case 1, what am I saying? What is 1? Answer now. Answer, I'm asking a question. Answer. Do you get it now? Because it's not that 1 is nothing. 1 has not actually been set to anything here. Do you get it now? Just what I'm trying to say. 1 has not been set to anything here. What I'm listening for is what? A prompt that says, what day is this? Do you get it? Now, when I now put case Monday, I'm saying that the user has to put Monday, the user has to put Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday for any of them to work. If you do not put any of this number, you have an error. Now, of course, I can go ahead and I can change this particular case to what? To 1. But will that actually make any sense? Let me show you what I'm saying. So if I remove this, put 1. Sorry, that's not even working. 1. Oh, sorry. 1 is. So let us put 1 here. So they said the name has to be what? String. Do you get it now? So let us put 1 and let's check it out. So if I say control and I put 1, what is saying? Today is Monday. Do you get it now? So you have to put what? Monday. Right? Now, there is one more thing I wanted to show you. This might not work. Now, what if the user puts something like, let's check it out. So what if the user says Monday? Do you know the difference? What's the difference? So it's lowercase. Does it work? No. This is what? Invalid. So I can easily come here and I can say or Monday. Do you get it? So if the user types in, sorry. Now, if the user types in what? Monday or what? Small Monday. Do you get it now? And if this case is also what? Monday, what do you have? You can now have day name equals to what? Monday. Now, if I go ahead and I check this out, so let's say Control R, and let us say Monday. What do you have? Today is what? Monday. Can you see that it works now? So you can use your OR. So that I explained of that logical operators to us. You can use your OR to have what? Multiple conditions. You can also even have a condition here. Do you get it now? So you can do the same thing for this one. You can say what? Or what? Tuesday. So if I go ahead and I check this out, let us check it out. So and let's say Tuesday. Oh, that was a mistake. I did not finish this. Okay. So now just we have to set the case for this one also. Case what? Tuesday. So okay. Now let's check it out. So we should have Tuesday. Today is Tuesday. Now that is how things like this work. And I hope this is clear to everything. Is it clear? All right, let me give us time to write this. So when we come back, we'll be moving into arrays.